Good morning. I think I'm live. Yes, I am. 31 seconds live already. Good morning, everyone. It's Erica here from Me2You Paper Crafts. This is my last Mojo Monday until September. I'm taking August off because we're away, and yeah, and I'm not really equipped to do a live while I'm away. We're going to see some relatives and someone who is currently in the hospital. So yeah, it's not probably going to be a good time to do a live from there. So this is the last one for the month. And let's see, I'm just going to look at my calendar here. I'm wondering what Thursday is. Oh, Thursday is August 1st, so I won't be here for Case the Caddy. I'm taking the whole month of August off, and I'll be back in September. So this is your last sort of card layout for a while, but it's a really good one. I don't know if you're familiar with panel cards, but a panel card is typically might have 3 or 4 strips of paper where the pattern flows across. So they're panels, right? And you can put the panel straight on the card base, or you can add a layer on the back to frame the panels, but they flow across the page. So it could be a pattern paper, you know, flowers or you know, even polka dots, whatever you want. And when you cut them, you keep them in order and put them on the front of the card. Today, I'm going to use actually scenery card. I've done panel cards with scenery, with a scenic paper. So today I'm actually using this sheet here. See if you can see that. There you go. I'm using this sort of like path into the wilderness scene, and I'm going to show you how to cut this down to create the panels. And this paper comes from the, hang on, I'm just trying to find it. It's right here on my desk. This piece comes from the Meandering Meadows paper. I'll turn my camera down and I'll flip through some of these papers. I've shown these papers before. They're absolutely gorgeous, and they're just perfect for all kinds of cards. Today, I'm actually going to make a sympathy card. Just because I don't have any sympathy cards and I actually do need one. So that's what I'm going to be doing. And I'm going to show you a little tip. I've also shown this tip before of punching out for the greeting. I'm going to punch from one of the pieces of of cardstock. I'll show you what I'm talking about. I'm blabbing on here forever about that. But I just need to pull down the punch that I want to use today. Is the hexagon punch. Yeah, it's the Heartfelt Hexagon punch, and this coordinates with a stamp set called Heartfelt Hexagon. And what I love about this is that it's got lots of different greetings in it, and then it's got some frames that match with the punch. This is the punch we're going to be using today. All right, so let me flip my camera. Okay, there we go. And I'm just going to zoom in a little bit and adjust my camera. There we go. Okay, so this is the stamp set, Heartfelt Hexagon. And it's a carryover one, and it's online. It's not in our annual catalog. You have to go online to find it. But it's got a really nice With Sincere Sympathy greeting in here. Another great greeting set is called Something Fancy. This is carried over as well. And there's also another With Deepest Sympathy greeting in here as well. This is a great, I reached for this one a lot for doing greetings. So that's another good choice. You always need I really like to just go to one stamp set that has multiple greetings in it rather than trying to find a stamp set that has a greeting in it. It's just a little bit quicker for card making. Okay, the ink I'm going to use today is Night of Navy, and I picked out colors out of this. Look how gorgeous this is. I picked out Night of Navy for my card base, and I picked out Highland Heather because I think Night of Navy and Highland Heather go really nicely together. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I've got here. And I also needed to cut another piece of Highland Heather for the inside of the card. So we're going to end up with a leftover piece from the panel cuts that we're going to put on the inside of the card. So this is for the inside of my card. So I'll set that aside. And this is my card base here. Okay. So this is my card base, and I'm going to just get my bone folder and give this a bit of a crease. Okay. All right. So I'm going to grab this, and I'm going to give you the cuts for this paper here. Let me get some other stuff out of the way. Okay. I'm going to just pull out my notes here. All right, so you start with a 6x6 piece of paper. So even if you're using 12x12, just cut it down to 6x6 because you're going to use pretty well the whole thing except for one strip. Okay, and I should also mention that it's a landscape style card just to get the most out of your scenery. You want it to be landscape. So this is half a sheet of cardstock, 5.5 by 8.5. Okay, and I'm doing it landscape. Okay, so obviously this height is not going to fit on the card. So we want to cut this down to, where's my DSP? 3 7/8. Okay, so I want to keep most of my pathway here. So depending on, you know, which part of the scenery you want to keep, you might want to trim off a little bit from the top. You might want to trim off a little bit at the bottom and keep adjusting it until you get 3 7/8. So I'm just going to have a look here and see if I cut off most of the sky. So 3 7/8 is 1/8 before the 4-inch mark, 3 7/8. So you go to 4 and then back it up 2 tick marks. If I can use Tamara Bertram's, she always explains her eighths using tick marks. Okay, so each little line that comes down from the ruler is a tick mark. Okay. So 1/8 is actually 2 tick marks, if that makes sense. So I just back it off 2 tick marks from the 4, and that is 3 7/8. It really is worth learning about eighths because a lot of cards use layering techniques and they do use eighths, and it just gives a really fine little outline. And I love eighths, so it's worth learning it. Okay, so if I cut that, look how much of the scenery at the bottom that I lose. I lose quite a bit. So I am going to just want to make sure that's the right 3 7/8 by 6. Yeah, so I'm going to cut some off from the bottom. So if I want to keep most of the bottom, I'm going to turn my paper around, and now I'm going to go to 3 7/8. Again, 2 ticks before the 4, and then see how I lose a lot of sky as well. So I'm going to make some adjustments here, and I'm just going to throw a little bit of sky off here. Okay, and then let's try 3 7/8 again. So you might need to play around with your design. That's too much. So I'm going to cut off a little bit down here. So if I go to 3 7/8, I do like the sky though. I think maybe I'll do it to there, 3 7/8. Okay, so there, I get a lot of ground and I get some sky, but this height must be 3 7/8. Okay, because we're going to be matting it. That's why that's the 3 7/8. We're going to be matting it on Highland Heather. Okay. All right. Now the next step you want to do, once you've figured out what portion of that 6x6 you want as your scene, you're going to now cut this down into your panels. So we're going to start cutting this. Again, keep it horizontal. We're going to cut this at 1 inch. So go to your 1 inch mark, and we're going to cut this to 1 inch. Okay, and set that aside. And then we're going to cut to 3 1/4. So go over to 3 1/4. So my good friend Carol, who does a lot of photography, she likes to make cards out of her photographs. This is going to be a perfect layout for her. 3 1/4. Just make sure 3 1/4. I get talking and then I'm not watching what I'm doing. So 3 1/4. So that's my second panel. And then this last piece, I'm going to cut again at 1 inch because it's 1 inch on each side of the card. So I'm going to go to 1 inch. There we go. And then this leftover piece is 3/4 of an inch, and this I'm going to put on the inside of my card. Okay. All right. So there's your scene. You see it's been cut up, and there's going to be a little gap in between. And that's what a panel card looks like. It's just got some white space in between. Okay. All right. Now I'll give you the measurements. And like I always do, I go back to the description of this video or this post in Facebook, and I will give you the measurements in case you missed it. All right. So now I already pre-cut the panels here. So because this strip here, these two strips are 1 inch, I've got my panel here, and this is 1 1/8 by 4. Okay, so it's 1/8 of an inch smaller on each side. Okay, so I'll be gluing these two pieces together like that. Okay, now these, I think I'm always saying this, I think I need to change my blade, but it's left a bit of an edge. So if after you cut your cardstock, you kind of see a raised edge, just take your bone folder and just smooth it out. Smooth those edges out. Let's do this last panel. You have to really watch. The key is not to press hard on that cutting blade. Okay, that looks better, right? So these are the pieces for the inside of the card, or no, sorry, for the front. All right, so now I got to remember, put my panel together. That doesn't look right. I think I moved them around. So just make sure you have the pattern figured out. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to simply glue the DSP on top of the Highland Heather layer. Make sure you get it nicely centered. Sorry, I just didn't do that right. A key to using tape runner is don't press it down right away. Kind of lay it on, but don't press it down because you have a chance to lift it up. Okay, so there's one done. And then I'll do this piece here. All right, so those are our two outside pieces. Okay, now, before we put this panel on here, I've shown this trick before, is that I need a piece of the Highland Heather for my greeting. And so this piece is going to get covered by designer series paper. So I might as well just punch it out. I always have a lot of scraps anyway, so it's not critical, but I can just punch this label right out of the center. And then I'm going to use this for my greeting. So now I can put my designer series paper right on top of this hole, and it gets totally covered up because it's going to be glued onto the card base. Okay, so that's just a little trick for you. So let's glue this on here. So again, I'm looking side to side. And if you line up one of these panels, you'll make sure that you're getting the DSP on the same with equal edges on the top and the bottom. Okay, so there are 3 panels, you see, and then that hole just gets totally covered up. Okay, so now what we can do is put this. Now, the unique thing about this card, oh, by the way, this layout is from Connie Stewart. What's unique about this layout is that we're going to put on these 2. Now, let's make sure again, make sure you've got the right pieces for your scenery. We're going to glue these onto the card. So I'm going to glue this onto the left side and then the right side. So I'm giving about 1/8 of an inch on the edge. So there's one piece, and then this piece I'm going to put over here. So it's important that you do the left side and the right side. Okay, now the unique part about this is going to be lifted up off the base by putting dimensionals all over the back. So let me just grab some dimensionals here. Here we go. And I don't want it to sag in the middle, so I am going to put some dimensionals. Okay. So that should be enough. Okay. Now we're going to put this on here. So what happens now is this gets overlapped a little bit. Okay, so just watch, make sure that the edges meet at the bottom and at the top, and it's going to overlap. So it's a little bit different than the other scenery cards that you may have seen. Look at that. So you can see it more in person, but you can see that this is higher here. Look at that. Isn't that cool? And the scene still flows right across the card. I just love that. All right, so now the inside of the card. I've got basic white. I could have used very vanilla, actually. There's more vanilla in the sky than the white, but I don't have any very vanilla at my desk. So I'm just going to go with the white. Okay. Now, the measurement for this piece is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. And the reason why it's cut down to 3 7/8, the same as what we did on the front, is because of this piece here. So this piece is just going to fit nicely right on top of that. So I'm going to put that on first. So it lines up nicely top to bottom. And I'm just going to leave a bit of a white space on the left side. Whoops, 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 whoops. It's like static grabs it. There we go. Okay. And then I can glue this to the inside of the card, and this is where I will write my sentiment. Whoops. Don't forget, it's a landscape card. Oh, I wanted to layer this. That's why. Hang on, hang on. I forgot this step. I want another layer just to continue the dot design onto the inside. So this piece I want to cut to 4 by 5 1/4. So I'll cut this down to 4 1/4, which is half of 8 1/2. So now I have another piece for another card. And I cut this to 5 1/4. No, 4 by 5 1/4. Yeah, 5 1/4. 4 by 5 1/4 is a typical layer. And I have to trim this down to 4 now because it was 4 1/4. So 4 by 5 1/4. This piece you can put, use it on your envelope or. All right, so this is what I wanted to do. I want this layer to go on top of this layer. Look how nice that looks. There we go. Okay, and now I can glue this to the inside of my card. So we'll put this on the inside. Look how nice that is. Isn't it nice when the whole pattern continues on the inside? That makes for what I call a perfectly finished card. Okay, now we're going to do some stamping on here. And I really like this little embellishment on here. So I think I'm just going to grab a tiny little block, and I'm just going to stick to Night of Navy. I want the card to be simple yet elegant. Hang on, let me just get a little block. Okay, and I've got my Night of Navy ink here somewhere. Where did I put it? There it is. It's hidden. Okay. And then I can do with Sincere Sympathy on here, or I could use this stamp set here, has a nice sympathy in it with Deepest Sympathy. Okay, so it's your choice. Use what you've got. So with Sincere Sympathy, now I know rule of thumb is to stamp and then punch, but because I'm using photopolymer stamps, I can see right through it. So I'm not worried about not having it centered. So with Sincere Sympathy, put that on there like that. And then I will put just a little embellishment. I think it only needs it at the bottom. And if I wanted to, I could put, I think I'll put one in here, just in the corner. There we go. And then I'll put some on the envelope as well. So there you have your card. Okay, now you could put some ribbon behind here. Or you could do linen thread is always a neutral thing to do. Here's one of our newest ribbons. It's an iridescent ribbon. So we'll just see what it looks like. I might not use it. This is always the last bit. I could just put a little bit behind it. Let's just cut a piece and see what it looks like and decide if that's what I want to do. So if I put that like that, yeah, I think that looks nice. Okay, so I'm just going to put a bit of tape runner on the back of the ribbon. And put that right there. And then I'm going to put these up on dimensionals as well. We'll have the greeting pop up a little bit. Okay. And then just put that on like that. Okay, and there's your card. Now I know the greeting kind of hides that scenery, so I mean I could have put it down here. Maybe that would have been a better spot for it, but you can decide where you want to put your greeting. And there's the inside and the outside of your card. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you'll make some and let me know what you think. And that is your last Mojo Monday until September. So happy crafting all of August. Who knows? I may come on randomly. I know I'm going to miss it, so you never know. But anyway, enjoy the rest of your summer. I mean, summer's going to be over before you know it. So enjoy your barbecues, go for your walks, enjoy, if you're still going on vacation, enjoy that. Enjoy some yummy drinks on the patio, whatever it is that you love to do in the summer, do it all because it's soon going to be over. Bye for now, everybody.